Hello and good morning. This is Morning Reel, a 200 minute or so podcast of films that I review, hosted by me, Ray Salazar. I review all kinds of films, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the worst of the worst, the best of the best, from all nations, one kind, any kind. Today, I'm talking about a film called Biutiful. Yes, it's called Biutiful. Not beautiful, but Biutiful. It's a 2010 psychological drama film, directed, produced, and co-written by Alejandro González Iñárritu. If you might know the guy, the name, he's directed Amores Perros. And if you love Amores Perros, then you should definitely watch this film if you haven't. Anyways, written by Iñárritu, Amando Bo, Nicholas Giacobone. Quite a name. Based on the story from Iñárritu, produced by Iñárritu, John Kalik, and Fernando Bovary. Starring Javier Bardem. But it's not just him, man. This film has a pretty good cast, and it's an intimate film. Cinematography by Rodrigo Prieto, edited by Stefan Mirion, or Mirione. Music by Gustavo Santaolalla, or Santaolalla. Damn, that's quite a fucking name. Try to say that, Colton. It has no R's in there, but even for me, I got fucked up for a second. Production companies: Menage a Trois, MOD Producciones, Focus Features International, Televisión Española, Televisión de Cataluña, ICAA, Ministerio de Cultura, Ikiru Films, Cha 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 Films, which is uncredited. Distributed by Videocine and United International Pictures. That's how we saw this film. So, shout out to them. This film came out in 2010, so obviously it's over 10 years old. It's a great film. I can't say it's a perfect film, but it's pretty good. I mean, it premiered at Cannes. Javier Bardem won Best Actor. Javier Bardem is a really good actor. This film actually won Best Foreign Language Film for the Academy Awards. It's still a sizzle to this day. Now, I remember seeing this film in the theater. Yes, in the theater. I didn't see it in its 35 millimeter, way, but I saw it nonetheless. You can actually see this film at the New Bev Theater. They actually show it, yearly, in 35 millimeter. So I can't wait to see that one day. It definitely has a big effect on you. And watching this film on the TV with somewhat of a big screen, right? You can tell it's a very captivating film in its visuals and its sound production and its story. To put it briefly about what this film is about a man named Uxabl. He is a medium. What's a medium? A person who pretty much connects with the dead. He pretty much kind of make sure that if the dead, the deceased, are in a limbo or in some type of purgatory, well, his role is to pretty much guide them out of purgatory and into the next chapter, life after death. Because I'm not a religious man, but I do believe in God. I do believe in the afterlife, and I strongly feel that when you're dead, that's not the end of the road. It's just the end of a certain chapter of your life as a being of sorts, right? And I mean, the film doesn't really play too much into it. I mean, it does, because Uxabl is dying. He's dying from prostate. He really tries to keep it to himself. He doesn't want to worry his family, his colleagues, because he works in the dirty business of counterfeiting, foreign goods like bags, stuff like that. He works with the Asians. He works with African folks, Senegalese to be more specific, and the Chinese to be more specific. It's a really dirty and dangerous business. He has to deal with the cops from his town, bribing them, making sure that, like, hey man, I know they're doing illegal shit as far as like selling, counterfeit goods, but here I am paying you. Don't mess with them, please. shit hits the fan, ever since he got told of the news that he has cancer. Things just don't go well for him. He has a wife who is an alcoholic, and she is a masseuse slash, I guess in some cases, a prostitute. Imagine living a life with that person, right? And he has kids with that person, 2 kids. He's living a tough situation in already a tough life. And we see a slice of life of a man in Spain living he lives poorly in a sense, right? He lives a tough life. As things come crashing down on him, even though he tries his best to provide a good life for his children and even his wife in some case, because he does give a crap about her. I mean, he's the mother of his children, but sometimes that shit don't fly, and we see that in the film. I would want you to see it. I want you to see how nature plays a part in this, because he is a medium, and not only that, he's a medium. The way the mediums live, or the way they have their outlook on life, is very much different from like the average person like you and me. I wouldn't go as far as to see a holistic doctor, cooking up a certain recipe to kind of get you through the day, instead of taking pharmaceutical drugs. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, he's given things to pass on to his children to make sure that they live a safe type of life, which is almost impossible considering what they got to go through, and what he has got to go through. I love the visual in this film, because Iñárritu does a good job at making sure that even though we are deeply engaged in the life of this man who's dying, and there's nothing that he can really do about it, there's nothing that we can do about it either. We have to sit there and watch this somewhat of a slow burner of a film where this man is going to pass eventually, but we don't see how he passes. And I love how the film starts. I love how the film ends. This film is written very well. Like you can see the acts go down. When the first act ends, when the second act ends. And it's not like a plain and simple film, even though the plot is sort of simple. Like this guy's trying to find ways to basically to make sure that his affairs are in order. He leaves nothing untraced. He makes sure that all the loose ends are tied up. And you usually do that towards the third act of the film, but that is the whole thing about this film, is hey, you don't have enough time. Make sure that you have everything in order before you go, because you know how it is when people are lost in the afterlife, and it hurts to see those people being informed of how lost these people are in some cases, right? You get to see the people, you get to see the town, you get to see the struggle, most importantly. But even more importantly than that, you get to see the will of unification, the will of keeping families together, even his own family. Uxabl gives a shit. He really does. He's a tough character. Not only is he tough, he's very vulnerable as well, and he knows it. And a lot of that vulnerability hits harder than his machismoism. Not that his character is very machismo, because in some ways it is, in some ways it's not. But it's very important, especially as a parent, right, to be strong for your kids no matter what, because that's all they got. They got nobody else. And that's one of the major things about this film too. What happens when you go? What's going to happen to your loved ones? What's going to happen, especially if they're kids, right? What's going to happen to them? Who's going to take care of them? Do you really want to trust an alcoholic, somewhat of abusive mother? Sometimes the thought, you can't fathom it. There's this powerlessness that you just got to kind of embrace, and make sure that you just leave it up to the universe. You leave it up to the things that you believe in, and they'll make it in life. I mean, if you can make it in some weird way, they can make it. So there's a lot of that going on too, and it's very important. It's an important thing to think about, especially us adults, right? Because I'm 33. I don't think about it too much, and I'm pretty sure I will think about it as life goes on, where you gotta be prepared, to go. gotta be somewhat prepared. You gotta have something, you know, to make sure that, you know, everybody's good, or at least 75% good. And I like how this film portrays the summation of life, because Uxabl never had a, you know, he never met his dad, you know. I mean, he met his mom, right? He had a bad break in life, basically, you know, like his mom and dad died in his life at an early age. That's tough. What can you do with yourself? Sometimes you really can't. Sometimes you just want to give up. Obviously, he's a different type of animal about it. As I was saying before, the visuals, good visuals in this film, a lot of mirrors in this film, a lot of reflection, because this is a film about reflection, you know. Because you got to ask yourself, am I doing it right? Am I doing my best? Are these people good? You know, a lot of soul searching, a lot of self reflection, and I love how Iñárritu like points at the mirror and just like slowly pans to the action of the film, and then sometimes he just keeps it there. Either he keeps it there, or he goes back panning to the mirror, or he just goes around. He's making sure that we are in this room, that we are not hallucinating when we see the action going down, and we see that a lot. I like how Iñárritu like puts the camera in such small spaces, and you can tell like a lot of it's like low lit, so you know the iris, the bokeh is just super open, so you don't see what's really in front of you. You see what actually matters, right? And he likes to play with that. He likes to play with the visuals. Sound is great, good music. It's very tense. I mean, this film is tense overall, you know, because even though it's a slow burner, things are not going well for Uxabl, and we can see that clearly. You can't just help but root for this person, no matter what, you know. What I love about the film overall is really the screenwriting and the acting. The direction is great, especially when like you see characters go from one place to another within the same shot, and they're not easy shots to actually make. You know, it seems like you have to like practice it very well. And look, another thing, preparation's important, you know, making sure that everything's good, you know. So even in the technicality of things, Iñárritu did a pretty good job at making sure that like his crew was prepped to take certain shots, to film certain scenes. Because even the scene where Uxabl confronts his wife Maramba, that's her name, Maramba, about the kids, about how she can't take care of the kids. She's unstable as a woman. And it sucks. It sucks a lot, because he was really hoping that this woman would kind of like take over him when he passes, especially at the fact that they don't know anything, you know? And it's pretty sad. I like the scene where he visits his dad in the morgue, and he actually gets to see him for the first time. You can tell it's a quite a tender moment for him, because he's only seen his dad in photos, and to see him in real life, and to be blessed at the fact that his father was embalmed before being transferred from Mexico to Spain, because his father passed in Mexico. So to actually see his father in one piece, I mean, you look at the body, you know, you can tell it's a dead body. It's slowly decomposing. I mean, it looks great the way it looks. This, you know, considering, right? That's just enough for him, and that's enough for him to be motivated to basically carry on his deeds as what he needs to do as a person, especially prepping to the next life. Touches his face, you know, just to feel something, you know, because he's feeling so much inside. We don't even know what he's feeling outside, but we do know that he's feeling pain overall. And I love the message of the film, where like basically there's a lot of symbolism in this film too, like in certain scenes, and some of it foreshadows other scenes to come, right? But the main message is to make sure that you have your affairs in order. Make sure you ask forgiveness to the people that you might have hurt. It works wonders. You got to make sure you know who you're dealing with in life. Could be a business partner, could be a romantic partner, what have you. You got to make sure you're on top of stuff because you never know when you're going to go. And you never know how life works. Life is unpredictable. I mean, we live in nature, really. Like, all this stuff, even the cars that are passing by me right now, it's fucking with nature, you know? And at the end of the day, nature's going to win because before nature goes, we're going to go. And that's just a fact. By taking care of ourselves, we are forgiving nature in a certain way. My name is Ray Salazar. Follow me on Morning Shot Films, IG and YouTube. Check out my website, morningshotfilms.co, where I present these podcast episodes on that website. You let me know if you like this review or not. Rate and review this podcast. Let me know, man. Comment. I love the comments, man. Whether they're good or bad. The other day, some guy said that, there's a little bit of tweaking on the Flaming Hot episode. Good. Thank you. I want to be the best that I can be as a film critic because I love cinema. I want to understand it. Cinema is very applicable to our lives, to the time, because some of the films that come out is very reflective of the times, very reflective of human nature. It's very important. It's one of the best mediums to basically show what life is or what life could be or how it could be, even though it's fictional for the most part. But you can't do that with audio. You can't do that with pictures. The motion picture, that's where it's at. People can change. People have changed. And films like these, like Biutiful, can change your perspective of life. Can change your perspective of human nature. Thank you.